What if I told you that a phone which hasn't even been announced yet is already reshaping the entire smartphone industry? Apple's iPhone Fold hasn't been revealed, hasn't been shown publicly, and won't be available until at least October, yet it's already forcing some of the biggest Android brands to rethink their plans. Samsung is preparing a completely new wide foldable device just to counter Apple's rumored design. Honor is reviving an affordable foldable lineup they abandoned years ago. Even Oppo is reportedly stepping back into the wide foldable space. What makes this situation so wild is that companies with billions of dollars in research and development budgets are changing their product roadmaps based purely on leaks and rumors surrounding a phone that doesn't officially exist yet. According to the latest analyst reports and supply chain leaks, Apple's first foldable iPhone will feature a 7.8-inch inner display when opened, but the size alone isn't the real story. Apple is reportedly using a much wider 4:3 aspect ratio, which is very different from the square-like displays seen on most current foldables. The idea is simple but powerful. Instead of feeling like an awkwardly shaped tablet, the unfolded screen would feel closer to an iPad mini that fits in your pocket. When closed, the phone is expected to feature a 5.3-inch outer display, which moves away from the tall, narrow cover screens that dominate the current foldable market. Apple doesn't seem interested in pretending the closed device is a normal phone. Instead, they're leaning into a compact but wider design that feels intentional. On the hardware side, the iPhone Fold is rumored to run Apple's A20 Pro chip paired with 12 GB of RAM. Camera-wise, it's expected to include dual 48-megapixel rear cameras and 18-megapixel selfie cameras on both the inner and outer displays. One of the more surprising rumors suggests Apple could bring back Touch ID, likely built into the power button, alongside Face ID to better suit the unique ergonomics of a foldable device. Samsung's response to these leaks has been swift and aggressive. Reports from Korea suggest Samsung is developing a device internally known as the Wide Fold, and this isn't just another variation of the Z Fold lineup. It's a completely new form factor designed specifically to mirror Apple's rumored approach. Samsung is reportedly planning an initial production run of around 1 million units, which would be their largest special edition foldable launch in years. The device is expected to feature a foldable display measuring roughly 7.6 inches with the same 4:3 aspect ratio and a 5.4-inch outer display that closely matches Apple's leaked dimensions. Samsung is taking this so seriously that they plan to launch it alongside the Z Fold 8 and Flip 8 at their July Unpacked event, breaking their usual release strategy. Samsung isn't alone in reacting. Honor, which has been relatively quiet in the foldable space, is rumored to be reviving its more affordable foldable series specifically to compete with the iPhone Fold. This lineup hasn't seen an update since 2024, but now it's being reworked around the wide foldable concept. Oppo is also expected to return to wider foldable designs, revisiting ideas they experimented with in earlier generations but moved away from in recent years. While some may point out that Google's original Pixel Fold introduced a similar wide concept first, Apple's involvement changes everything. When Apple enters a category, consumer expectations tend to shift. They did it with smartphones, they did it with tablets, and they could very well do it again with foldables. Despite years of development, foldable phones have remained a niche product. Global shipments are still tiny compared to traditional smartphones, but analysts believe Apple's entry could finally push foldables into the mainstream. Well-known Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo predicts Apple could sell between 8 and 10 million foldable iPhones in its first year alone. That number is massive when you consider Samsung shipped just over 6 million foldables total across all models last year. Apple entering the market at that scale would instantly redefine the competitive landscape. The wider form factor also fits perfectly into Apple's ecosystem strategy. When closed, the iPhone Fold would behave like a compact iPhone. When opened, it becomes an iPad-like device optimized for multitasking, media consumption, and productivity. This dual-purpose experience could solve one of the biggest complaints about current foldables, which often feel cramped when closed and awkwardly shaped when opened. Manufacturers are clearly worried that Apple may have cracked the formula. Narrow outer screens and square inner displays have never felt fully natural. A wider design offers a more usable phone experience on the outside and a more comfortable tablet experience on the inside. If Apple makes this design mainstream, every other company needs to be ready. The timeline makes this even more interesting. Apple is expected to unveil the iPhone Fold alongside the iPhone 18 lineup in September. Samsung plans to launch its wide foldable just months earlier. Honor and Oppo are racing to follow closely behind. We could be looking at a wave of wide foldable launches all within the same year, each one trying to either beat Apple to market or directly counter its design. This competition is already pushing innovation. Manufacturing processes are improving, pricing strategies are shifting, and brands are taking foldables more seriously than ever. Apple influencing the industry before releasing a single product perfectly shows the level of power the company still holds. Whether the iPhone Fold ultimately succeeds or not, it's already changed the direction of foldable phones. The next year will reveal whether Apple's vision truly makes foldables mainstream, but one thing is certain: the foldable phone wars are just getting started.